Trading crypto is both a game of luck, but also a game of skill. The skill component is obviously trying to find out what the next big altcoin will be, trying to find out what altcoin has good technology, trying to find out where currently the momentum and the attention is shifting. But short term, we've got a lot of luck involved as well, right? Because we don't know what other participants in the market will do. We don't know if the whale is waking up today and decides to quit crypto altogether, or if the whale decides to just rebalance the portfolio. And so fundamentally, the asset itself might not have changed in its value, right? But the price might change because a whale just decides to sell for whatever reason that might even be independent from the asset itself. And so because of that, because we've got both skill and luck, not 100% of anybody's trades can go green, right? There's always a fraction of trades that doesn't go well because of that luck component. Now, what it's all about in the end, long term, in my opinion, is to get the odds in our favor. So why do casinos win long term? It's because all of the games that are offered are slightly in favor of the casino, right? When you're playing roulette, maybe you've got a chance of winning of, say, 48%. So it's only 2 percentage points that are in favor of the casino. But if you've got big enough of a sample size, if you play the game for often enough, then of course, over time, money will accrue towards the people with the right odds, right? It will accrue towards the casino in this case. And so what are the approaches to get the odds in our favor, at least long term? One approach that I personally very much like is backtesting. So we can simply just define a strict set of rules, and then we can backtest that strategy in the past. We can see how well did those kind of trading rules perform in the past. So let's say we take the RSI or the MACD or a moving average, and we define, let's say, when the price goes above the moving average, then we buy. Whenever the price goes below the moving average, then we sell. And then we can backtest how well did that strategy work for Bitcoin in the past? How well did the strategy work for other altcoins in the past? How well does the strategy work for different durations of moving averages? So when we've got different parameters of that particular technical indicator. Now, when a strategy used to work in the past, it's obviously not a guarantee that it will continue to work in the future, but we can analyze certain things, right? We can see what's the average win rate, at least in the past. Did it work, say, in 60, 70%? We can then gather a sample size in the future. We can even do split testing, right? We can figure out what is the best, say, parameter for a moving average, what's the best duration for a moving average in, say, the first 6 months when Bitcoin was existing versus the last 6 months. Is there a change of the best moving average duration? Is that potentially something that stays constant over time? Where we can figure out how well does the strategy actually work over time? Is this something that simply just randomly worked, or is this something that actually tends to work pretty well independent of market conditions? So backtesting is one approach. Another very common approach is to simply just try to write the narratives, right? So when there's currently a bull market, people consider what are the kind of altcoins that used to perform very, very well. Let's say it was the AI coins, or let's say it was the meme coins. Then it's potentially more likely that, again, meme coins and AI coins are going to outperform in the future. So you don't necessarily want to be in DeFi when everybody is talking about meme coins. And you don't want to necessarily be in crypto gaming when everybody that's speculative with their money is in something else. So simply going where currently the attention is can also put the odds in our favor. Now, I believe there's different approaches that work well in different kinds of markets. So I've backtested, for example, those moving averages, and I figured out for Bitcoin, the best moving average tends to be the 120-day simple moving average. So when the price is below the 120-day simple moving average, we tend to be rather in a bear market. And when the price is above, we tend to be rather in a bull market. Currently, by the way, that price is slightly below the 120-day simple moving average. So according to that backtest, we are rather in a bear market now. Now, I believe in a bear market, it does not necessarily make sense to trade meme coins left and right? Because the market as a whole isn't expanding. So it's 100% player versus player. I believe in a bear market, we should be looking at other strategies to put the odds in our favor. The market in general is shrinking. Then in general, it makes sense to rather be on the short side, as in to bet on falling prices, right? Why would we try to pick the needle in the haystack, right? The one altcoin that outperforms Bitcoin when 99% of altcoins underperform Bitcoin? Why not instead betting on the 99% of altcoins underperforming to continue to underperform in a bear market, right? If we've got the hunch that the market as a whole isn't super hyped right now, that the expansion has pretty much stopped, and that there's rather a player versus player game going on, then we can also assume that the profit that some people make by buying altcoins will be very, very much concentrated. So it will only be a few altcoins that make most of the gains, and most altcoins are likely going to underperform Bitcoin. When that's our thesis, then why not put the odds in our favor and mainly short the market? I see this happening very, very rarely actually. Most people get super excited about crypto when prices are going up, but very few people stick around when the market tends to contract and then short the market. But I personally believe actually it's easier to generate alpha, to generate outperformance in a bear market than it is in a bull market. Because in a bull market, we have to find those few winners that then make multiple X returns, but we have to find those few winners that outperform Bitcoin. In a bear market, we don't have to be that selective. In a bear market, since most altcoins underperform anyways, we can have a pretty broad basket of altcoins that we are simply just shorting, where we're simply just betting on falling prices. Since again, the odds are in our favor, right? Most altcoins will do worse than Bitcoin. And the main reason for that is not just risk mitigation, it's not just because people exit crypto, it's also tokenomics. As in, Bitcoin is relatively hard money, right? There isn't too much token inflation. There's less than a percentage point per year that the Bitcoin supply is expanding over time, right? With every halving, this gets even cut further down. So less than 1 percentage point, I think it's 0.85% per year right now, gets added to the Bitcoin supply. But for a lot of altcoins, the supply expansion is way, way faster. It can be 10%, it can be 20%, sometimes even 30% per annum. So you need to see the demand to grow at least by 30% per annum for the price just to stay stable. Now, how likely is that when the market as a whole isn't expanding, when we are rather in a bear market, right? It's super unlikely. So when the supply is growing and the demand is not growing as a whole in the market, then we can simply just bet on that token inflation to continue. We can simply bet on the prices to lose versus Bitcoin and Ethereum as demand doesn't catch up with supply. Now, in the back test that I've done for Bitcoin, right, the 120-day simple moving average, I simulated both going long in Bitcoin and going short in Bitcoin. As in, when Bitcoin falls below the 120-day simple moving average, we would be betting on falling prices of Bitcoin. And that is, with that backtest, profitable. But I personally don't actually like that much shorting Bitcoin because over the long term, right, over the decades, I believe that Bitcoin will continue to rise against fiat because fiat expands over time way, way faster than Bitcoin. But when we short altcoins, we don't necessarily have that effect, right? When an altcoin expands in supply by 30% per annum and fiat only expands by 7% per annum, right? That's historically how much USM2 expands over a year. If our altcoin expands faster than that, then the altcoin should lose versus the US dollar. And again, most altcoins are set up in that way. So yes, on the one hand, I'm somewhat disappointed that we aren't rising in all of crypto that much anymore. This also reduces, of course, the exposure of this YouTube channel to a broader audience, right? Nobody is searching for crypto anymore. Everybody is losing money. Nobody wants to follow any crypto content anymore. But on the other hand, I'm also happy about outperforming the rest of the market now. I believe generating alpha, generating outperformance versus Bitcoin and versus fiat for that matter is way, way easier in a bear market than it is in a bull market. Simply because most stuff loses against Bitcoin. And we don't have to find the one loser as we have to in the bull market, right? In the bull market, we have to find the few winners that do the multiple X returns. In the bear market, we don't have to find the one or two massive losers. We simply can just short a broad basket of altcoins because pretty much everything loses against Bitcoin in a bear market. People are simply just selling off everything because of the inherent leverage, but also because of tokenomics. Setting up short positions in decentralized finance is a bit more complex though, right? You have to borrow the token, you have to deposit collateral, you have to monitor the health rate. You also have to look at what potential altcoins are the best to short, right? Not every altcoin is great to short. When there's still a winner, when there's still a lot of hype around one or two altcoins, you don't necessarily want to short those, right? You want to short the altcoins where there's very little attention, where simply just tokenomics take over. Because things are a bit more complex and because things get a bit more technical, I have made separate tutorials on that. Those tutorials are available in the premium membership. So feel free to check that out. It's down below. It's thebitcoinstrategy.com. If you've got a crypto portfolio that's above $5,000 or so, then you should be able to get your money back. If you've got a crypto portfolio that's below $5,000 so, then feel free to simply join the free Telegram. There's also a free Telegram channel down below. Feel free to join there as well. Looking very much forward to chatting with you there as well. Cheers!